Hi, welcome back to Tarot by Jillian. I am just gonna do like kind of another rando read. Uh, I just kind of been like writing down questions today, and so I'm just gonna start shuffling. And this is like this is representing me, so this is like a natural leader with passionate interests and like competent with you know, the actions behind what a natural leader does. All right. So it's like, I guess the question that the cards are generating is like how to make things fair to people who like uniquely defend their natural uh, ability to, you know, innovate ways to do things in a practical way, but in like less stressful way. Yeah, this is my little divine card. This is like, it's kind of like me as a 9-year old being like, okay, so this will be like a personal story thing. So I have like a 16-year old, but at one time he was a 6-year old, 5-year old that wanted to parkour. He wanted to go to parkour class and like learn some skills. So he went to a, a parkour class. And I was like, hey, how was parkour class? And he's like, I could have taught a better class. And I was like, I'm sure you could. And that was me at like mid 30s telling my son, who was 5, that he could probably teach a better parkour class. If I looked at the natural leader and not really the age of the natural leader, my son was like, hey, mom, I can do way better, way more extreme awesomeness in a safe way than this class I just went to. And I'm like, I believe you. Because I'm a good mom. I'm a good mom. I'm not like, oh, well, you're like 5 years old and yada yada, blah, blah, blah. Mm-mm. I was like, nope, you are probably an expert at parkouring already at 5 years old. And, you know, anybody who knew Mikey Mo probably would be like, for sure. All right, so it's like this natural leader, whether I'm like 9 years old, leading naturally, 20 years old, leading naturally, 30, and I'm 43 now. It's still like drama, 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 drama. So I guess we're going to talk about drama today on my general rando read. It might be a rando rant. Might turn into something like that. Okay. So I do have like another kind of personal story, but it's like my son's perspective of me as a single mom and what it actually was. It has to do with my work. I was a hairstylist and I was able to work when my son was at his dad's. It was like a custody kind of scheduling. So, to my son, who was, a young a young kid, uh, if you asked him about his mom's work schedule, he would be like, "Well, she works like 1 day a week, 1 week, and then the next week she works like 2 days a week." But that's usually like on the weekends or whatever. But in all actuality, I worked 4 days a week every week. But to my son's perspective, I only worked 1 day or 2 days. You know why? Because I was a good mom. Because I was like, hey, you're doing stuff, but when you get off the bus, I'm going to make sure I'm home. Hey, you're doing stuff. You're being a kid and you're like trying to make friends, and I'm going to make sure that like I'm off at 5 o'clock on the weekends so you can have sleepovers with your friends. So that leads me into why I learned tarot. I learned tarot when I was 30, it was like 35, 36 years old. And I'm the Queen of Swords. Um, I learned tarot to be a better mom. Okay, so I had this thing where I was like a Gen Xer and I didn't really want to go into a spat with like how I was raised all the time. You know, the boomers like to say that stuff, but as a Gen Xer, I don't like to say that stuff. I can maybe tell you how I was raised. My son doesn't really believe it sometimes when I say the stuff that uh, I had I had forced on me as a Gen Xer as like a form of parenting. He doesn't even really believe it. Yeah, so I'm a Queen of Swords that turned into an Empress because when I learned tarot, I was like, I want to learn from a person that is a good mom, whether they are in a relationship or not. And that's when my tarot teacher, Tarot by Janine, was like, oh, okay. So I gathered information kind of in like, it seemed like a blind kind of, you know, like, look, she had she had her tarot readings for free for a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna learn. And I learned, but when I would practice, I would ask about uh, different parenting styles. So, for instance, I had a tween that wanted to just kind of argue with someone, and he found it really fun to argue with me. And so I very distinctly remember one time he was trying to get me to fight with him. And I went and I grabbed a deck of cards and I was like, how should I handle this this heated exchange between my tween son who just is like, I have to just like bicker with somebody right now. And I got the 8 of Cups and it was just like, just walk away. And then I shuffled a little bit more and it was like, talk about it later. So I just did that. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do that. Like, I really don't know how else to handle kind of like a tweenager, like inside all the time and just being like, I have no one to bicker with except for you. So that's how I learned tarot. So that's like my Empress move is far as tarot. So like if people wonder why these cards have a hard time, just like not telling you the truth, it's because I learned how to parent, how to be a better parent because I started shuffling, and I based learning cards on how will this better my situation for my kids. Like I was not aiming to be the weirdo mom that's shuffling to like see if her kids can go to grade skate or not. But it's like, it's a gift of mine. It's a gift of mine. And it's like, how could I not like view a gift that I kind of honed in on when I was 36 years old. It wasn't like I was a teenager learning tarot cards. But still, it's like people are like in regret that I learned how to read cards. But I looked for the most integral way I could learn them. And I still know of people that like to talk about these cards like they know what's up with these cards. And and I was about to share some like tree wisdom with this video. But I'm like, why should I? Why should I even do that without asking the cards first? I should ask the cards first, right? I should ask the trees first. It's like opening my big old mouth, you know? Trying not to be wise. Like, I have to do the earth sign video for Basic Bitch Tarot. And I'm like, kind of putting it off. And it's like, even when I'm trying to do the Basic Bitch Tarot, it's like, the earth signs are like, just hold off. Just hold off. Okay, so arguing just to argue with people who like really work better on their own. If you work better on your own, you're not going to want to argue about the stuff you're doing, because it's just like, I don't really need anyone else to tell me how to do it. Like, you know, it's really simple as that sometimes, you know. And then we're still, there's, which bitches be bitching. Like, that's what this card is. On the peeps that like really don't need them, really don't need any kind of influence. And then they're like, oh, let's start drama up. Because they don't need us to like make innovative stuff. They can just like do it by themselves. And like, I don't even have to like record myself doing stuff. Like, I would make like lunch for myself, whether I have a video camera in front of me or not. I would paint. I don't know. I was painting a canvas, but usually I paint rocks. Like, I would do it whether a video camera was on or not. And so like, to question people on their capabilities and then want to derive some sort of somebody's thinking I haven't even posted this video, and I'm already getting a download that somebody thinks I look like Emma Watson as Hermione Granger. Is it like wearing my hair back like this? Is that like? Okay, so I'm trying to do things within a expertise type of way. And even with that kind of stuff, with a practicality and a good foundation, like according to people who like want to say they're officialdom, like, oh, do you have like a certification for that? Oh, do you have a degree for that? And it's like, yeah, I do actually. I have a degree to teach. I have a teaching degree. Wow. I have a teaching degree. I do. So, like, okay, so back to kind of like the wish comes true. Even if I make my own wish fulfillment, or, if I'm like, hey, this is kind of what I'm willing to share out of like the stuff that I do, and here's the awakening card again. It's still like, something, that has a good foundation. It's not really something that is impractical. I have issues because things are supposed to just like fall in my lap. And this witchcraft, just like, you guys want to like take all these things that are supposed to like be presented to me, and then you just like do really weird stuff in your personal lives that I'm not supposed to comment on. But for some reason, you guys want to be like, I have a whole bunch of hidden enemies that want to like spy on the shit that I'm doing. And it's like, this is what I'm doing. I'm sitting here and I'm shuffling cards like this. This is what I'm doing. Look, I was gonna do a live stream, but it's kind of like ridiculous to do live streams. Okay, so yeah, here's a little divine card. So, like, it's like I'm ready to just do stuff the way I want to do it, and it's really beneficial to the younger generation, even the people that are like 10 years younger than me in their 30s. You know, yeah, I have like mothering, like I had marriage and family classes. I had, uh, you know, you guys would call it facts, family and consumer science. I had foods classes, like, you know, family counseling stuff, and like master's classes. So, like, in a way, my, like, the practical, intuition that people strive for in business, I have naturally. And it's like, kind of like one of those things where, um, you know, men like to listen to the ideas of women and then implement them as their own. And even in that kind of scenario, they're still co creators. They're still getting something presented to them because of something else. And, you know, there's a lot of business guys that go to see psychics. And even my tarot teacher talks about businessmen. Like, that was her main clientele, was businessmen. And as a hairstylist, my I'm not gonna say my main clientele, but I'm gonna say like my most consistent clientele were men. But I was also like, you know, really good at men's haircuts, you know. And there's like, you know, there's like a give and take to that stuff, but it just doesn't seem like those scammy kind of businessmen kind of, they don't really like give really anything back. They really like to shortchange people. And that's like part of their belief system. It's like a belief system or something where it totally, any kind of creativity is squashed when you operate like that. It really is. It's like an abuse of, it's like an abuse of action because you're abusing creativity. Look at me getting all deep and stuff, but like it really affects the family structure and how kind of like healing like it really disrupts and distorts healing vibrations, especially in family structures. It really is not you know, it's emotional uh guilt and stuff is not something that you should pass down to the youth. Yeah, it's not fair to them. And like that stuff, you know, it's just there's like a different way. There's a different way. And is there anything else? Is there anything else? Okay, so it's really like the pretend masculine uh, needs to be restructurized with, and on the bottom of the deck with like a nurture. Like, it's like the male kind of magician thing has to find something to nurture if they want to be magicians or something. I'm not sure. I'm not a witch bitch, so I don't know really kind of what's to nurture about magicianry. Look at that. Already making up words about that. Okay, so I'm just gonna end it here. Uh, have a good one. Bye.